What's going on? What's going on, people? Welcome to the Progressive Action TV show. We got some serious things to discuss today. We have some serious business to handle today. It's very important that you guys share out this live. This live will have information for the riding public. This live will have information for the workforce of the MTA. This information is very important. As far as I'm concerned, it's not a game any longer. It's real deal. It is real deal. The games are done. You see the number on the screen, 515-605-9842. I definitely want to hear from you guys this show. You guys got to say something. I don't care if you the public. I don't care if you work here. You guys have to say something. Now let's get to the business. If you want to donate to the platform, the Cash App is Progressive Action 100. The PayPal is Progressive Action. For the people who love what we do and want to donate every month, in the description of the video on YouTube, you will see something called Patreon. Subscribe to the Patreon. But I need you guys to definitely take this link, put it on your Facebook, text it to a friend. This is a very important show. Very important. Let me do it myself real quick. Man, the stuff that I heard today and what the MTA got planned for riders and workers is insane. It's insane. Completely insane. And the only way that we could fight back on these attacks is if we become allies with one another. Nothing happens unless we become allies. I got to put it inside Progressive Action real quick. All right, I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's get to some Cuomo news real quick. So basically, says New York will lead the way. Cuomo vows to mobilize army to vaccinate all New Yorkers. Now, let me put up the next part because this is what I really want to focus on. To the black and brown community, we know when it comes to healthcare, they do not care about us. We get things last. I mean, we seen this whole thing go down with the coronavirus. Me, myself, I was turned down from getting a test. I couldn't get a test. Being sick and all, I could not get a test. I had a friend a Caucasian friend who lives in Nassau County. And he's like, Tramel, you can't get a test? I said, nah, I can't get a test. He said, well, come to my City MD. They'll test you the same day. And of course, he lived in the white community, and I live in the black community. I couldn't get tested. And we see this when it comes to health in the black and brown community, poor health food choices, a lot of sugary drinks, nothing healthy really for us. Like, we really have to go digging for the healthy stuff in our communities. So it rings an alarm to me that the powers that be want to make sure that people of color get the vaccine first. We cannot be fooled by this to think that they care about our health and safety. We just can't. We simply can't. Because we know that they don't care about our health and safety at all. They do not care about our health and safety. So what they really want to do by giving us the vaccine first, or making sure that we get the vaccine, is to make sure that we are guinea pigs, the same way how they did the Tuskegee experiment. They want us to be the guinea pigs to make sure that this vaccine is 95% effective, like they are saying it is. And they want to see how much of us will be negatively affected by this vaccine so they can make the necessary changes, because black and brown people's lives are expendable. It makes no sense why they want to make sure that we get the vaccine first. Makes no sense. So I'm not going to be fooled by that. In other news, the EMS unions welcome mask upgrade amid fear of second wave. Emergency medical service union leaders welcomed the fire department's provision of a new reusable respirators to replace the disposable N95 masks used for most of the coronavirus pandemic that have been in short supply nationally. Now, if the MTA really cared about our safety, really cared about us making it through this pandemic, why didn't we get the upgrade when we had the most deaths than any city agency in New York? Why are we still getting one N95 every week or two? Why don't we have this type of protection? It's something to think about. Something to think about. Like I said, what's going on now is really like unprecedented. This is a pandemic that you see once every 100 years. We never seen this before. None of us working at the MTA never seen this before. So you're going to go through times where things are going to happen. They go try to take things away from us and things of that nature. So we have the sanitation workers. And this is very important to our story because we're going to talk about this, and it's scary. Sanitation Workers Union defers retro benefit payments. The Uniform Sanitations Association on November 16th agreed to defer half of the retroactive wage payments its members were to receive last month until next July 31st in return for a no layoff guarantee through next June 30th. That will be extended another year if the city receives significant relief from the state or federal government. So sanitation workers actually had a chip where in order for them to stave off layoffs, because nobody should get laid off during this time, but in order for them to stave off layoffs, they deferred half of their retroactive payments. So they had a bargaining chip, and their union used it. Now, I don't believe that our retroactive payments should be held, sanitation, no matter what agency you work for, because that's wages that's owed to us. And they should have gave it to us when the contract was signed. But they had a bargaining chip in place to stave off layoffs. So that's a good thing. Another union, Communication Workers of America Local 1180, has agreed to defer scheduled city payments totaling $15.9 million to its welfare fund for both active employees and retirees until late next year in return for a no layoff guarantee that will extend at least through next June 30th to produce savings for the city in its current fiscal year. Another union had a bargaining chip, and instead of them getting their scheduled payments, they deferred it to keep off layoffs. You guys got to pay attention to what's going on. This is serious. This is serious. If you're watching right now, you need to share out this live. We need to get this information out to everyone. This is not only for MTA workers. This is for everyone. This live will affect everyone. All my lives actually affect everyone, but we're going to get into this. This is super important because people do not care until they are directly affected, and this is going to affect everyone. Everyone. So I try to tell you guys how important it is to watch the MTA board meetings, to pay attention to what's being said, what's going on. If you pay attention to the board meetings, you get to see how these bosses think. You get to see how the MTA board think. And these board meetings are not only for the public. These board meetings are super important for MTA workers as a whole. Before anything hit the workforce, it is ran through that board. I mean, I was at a board meeting one time, and I forget who the lady was. I'm going to try to find the clip. But she basically said the reason why New York City transit workers get injured so much is because we are fat and obese. She said that. I couldn't believe my ears. I could not believe my ears. Shout out to Lamont Kirk for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. I couldn't believe my ears. So it's super important for us to pay attention to what's going on at these board meetings. Because for those who don't know, John Samuelson, our international president, TWU international president, he was once the president of Local 100, is on that board. He's supposed to be our voice for labor. He's supposed to be our voice for labor. So I'm going to pull up some things that happened at the MTA board today. It's super important. Super important. If you know someone who needs to see this, you got to make sure you share it to them. Take the link, share it in the group, come back in. This is super important. So we go play the first clip. And the first clip is from Chief Safety Officer Pat Warren. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little backdrop on Pat Warren. Pat Warren has been lying this entire pandemic. When he was at the MTA board meeting and in the media saying that we were getting masks, we weren't getting masks. We were dying. He lied this entire pandemic. Now, I'm not going to point out anything in particular that he said today, but I want to point out something that should be alarming to all the workers in New York City Transit, especially after all the deaths we have faced here. Let's go to the clip.
Including COVID-19. Together with social distancing, mask usage remains the single most effective defense against contracting the virus, according to the CDC. We continue to refresh our mask usage campaigns and continue to see extremely high usage rates of 98% on buses and 96% on the subways, and we thank our ridership for their support and the respect they show to one another. In closing, we are grateful to the patronage of our customers, and we are committed to continuing to bring the safest transportation to New York. Chairman, that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Pat. Any questions for Pat? Great. Safe.
Including COVID-19.
Now, first off, he's lying when he says that the mask compliance on these buses and on these trains, like I pointed out before, if you're not following the passenger from the time they enter the system to the time that they leave, you can't really measure mask compliance. So they lying about that. But what I want to point out here is that this guy been lying the entire time about this whole safety thing. If you listen to the video, when Pat Foy said, "Do anyone have any questions?" That's for the entire MTA board, including our international president, John Samuelson. Do anyone have any questions regarding the safety of the workforce in the MTA in New York City Transit, John Samuelson didn't have not one question to ask. Not one question to ask. So you mean to tell me there's a second wave right now? Yesterday there was over 5,000 positive tests and 35 deaths. Not one question. We had 2 recent MTA workers deaths within the past month. Not one question regarding safety after all the lies, Samuelson. Not one question. I mean, no question about how management is handling social distancing in these crew rooms, these very small crew rooms. No questions about how the MTA is still rationing PPE and giving us masks once every week or two and gloves every few days. No questions about who's enforcing passengers wearing masks. No question on that. No question about who is cleaning these partitions that the MTA put up in these crew rooms and in these depots to make sure that they sanitized. No question about that. No question about the shower curtains still being on buses. Absolutely no question. No question about the sanitizing and disinfecting of crew areas. Absolutely not one question. I want to play this clip again so you guys can hear exactly what happened. Not one question.
Together with social distancing, mask usage remains the single most effective defense against contracting the virus, according to the CDC. We continue to refresh our mask usage campaigns and continue to see extremely high usage rates of 98% on buses and 96% on the subways, and we thank our ridership for their support and the respect they show to one another. In closing, we are grateful to the patronage of our customers, and we are committed to continuing to bring the safest transportation to New York. Chairman, that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Pat. Any questions for Pat? Great. Safe.
Including COVID-19. Together with social distancing.
Once again, not one question. Not one question. Amazing. Amazing. Let's get into the meat and bones of this. If you want to call in on the show, the number is 515-605-9842. I would love to hear from you guys today. I will be taking calls. I'm going to start taking calls right after I talk about the meat and bones of this. Right now, we're about to get to what the MTA plan on doing to us MTA workers. We're going to get to it. So if you're holding on the line, continue to hold on and listen. Continue to hold on and listen. Let's get to this next clip. This is very important.
2022. That gives us savings going forward. And again, that is on represented and non-represented, but it would give us permanent savings going forward.
Basically, in that clip, the MTA was talking about freezing our wages for 2021. What does that mean? That means that the MTA is not giving us a raise in 2021. That's their plan. That's their plan. They're not giving us no raises in 2021. So we already can't keep up with the cost of living. We're already falling behind all the other city agencies when as far as pay is concerned. Now they are talking about freezing our wages. When I talked about the sanitation workers earlier in the show, they didn't talk about their wages being froze. When I talked about the communication workers of America, we ain't say nothing about their wages being froze. They just deferred their retro pay and all those other pays. The MTA is planning on freezing our Wages. Freezing our wages will put us further behind in keeping up with the cost of living, in buying groceries, buying clothing, putting your kids in school. We can't afford a wage freeze. In fact, they owe us. And this is why we couldn't afford these poor contracts that we've been getting up under Stand United. Our current union administration, all of these, we was getting cents. We haven't got $1 raise a year since they've been in office. This is why it's important that we put real fighters in place to negotiate these contracts for us, because now it's going to come to bite us in the butt. Now, we're not getting no raise. The MTA plan on freezing our wages for permanent savings. That means that we may not get a raise for the foreseeable future, especially if they don't get the bailout money that they supposed to be getting or that they hoping for. Let's go to the next slide. This next slide, everyone think that they're safe. Oh, no layoffs go happen and it's not going to be as bad. Oh, let's get to this layoff clip so you guys could see exactly what's going on here. Check it out.
Almost a $4,600 workforce reduction. Long Island Railroad and Metro North combined $265 million of savings for 33 workforce reductions. MTA bus savings of $190 million, almost 1,300 workforce reduction. I should point out that MTA bus, because the city pays the full deficit of MTA bus, this is not generating savings for the MTA, but the savings would accrue to the city of New York. And for bridges and tunnels, some savings there of $25 million, workforce reduction of 196. So in total, it's $1,274 million and workforce reductions of 9,367. I should say this is the full year impact. The reason we don't have that full year impact in 2021 is because we cannot implement it immediately. If this were to happen, because we are not receiving the federal aid that we desperately need and we believe deserve, the board would have to take action. Once taken action, there would have to be public hearings. Once there's public hearings, there would be a process that's followed through. So we believe that the earliest we might be able to implement these would be in May of this year, of next year. So a workforce by each agency, we've summarized it here. New York City Subway, annual.
Caller 5032, you're now live on the Progressive Action TV show. What's your name and where you calling from? Caller 503.
Hello?
Yeah, you're live with Progressive Action TV. What's your name and where you calling from?
I'm Ricardo,
Where you calling from?
calling from my house. I'm
What-
retired.
You're retired. What borough, state, where are you calling from?
Well, I live in Nassau, Valley Stream, but I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I've been retired now less than a year, but I see what's going on. I got on the job in '88, and since '88, there's been stories, and I could tell you a lot of stories, money that been thrown away because they got to spend the money. You know the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't spend it, you don't get it next year.
All right.
I work for two departments.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You work for two departments.
I worked for Turnstiles first when I started in '88 as a provisional, and I wasn't too happy with the union there because they railroad us. And when I took the job. When I came in with experience, resume, and then come to find out I had a provisional job, But you know how that is. They make who they want to make permanent and who they don't. So I got canned in 92, and then I had to come back, take a test for another department. And I did my time, and I got out of there as soon as possible. I was fortunate that I got out right before this crisis. And sorry to hear about all the people we lost, because they should have shut down the system. With all the people we moved, they shut down the airports, but they couldn't shut down transit, which we know what's that all about. And you know how it is with upper management. They don't have time for us, but they're making more bosses, higher salaries, and we're going backwards.
Facts. Now, I just played the clip about the MTA plan on freezing raises for MTA workers. How do you feel about that?
I think it sucks. You know, people are barely making it with what they're getting. And why don't they freeze their salaries? And why don't they cut their raises? But they have no problem with that. I'm out of the system, but I know what's going on because a lot of people keep me informed. And I hear people being made bosses, but yet they have no money. You don't become a boss going down in salary. You become a boss because you're going up in salary.
Facts.
Am I right?
Facts. You're right. You're right.
So, the only way, I've been saying this since 88, the only way all this is going to get rectified in transit is going to be when the federal government that subsidizes transit says, we're going to come in and we're going to control it, because it's a joke what goes on. The way that the employees are the ones that have to pay the price.
You're right.
While they just go on their little excursions and spending money, but when it comes to us, they never have anything. Some of our rooms, I could tell you, they look like things that, you wouldn't want to even be in there. You work there.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Half the people don't believe the stories when I tell them. Our facilities, the worst.
Facts.
And then, but we got to blame ourselves a lot of times because we don't stand up to the people. I'm one that I used to tell the bosses, and people that are listening to me and know me out there don't know. I'm one of the guys they should tell the bosses, I make you look good. At the end of the day, I make you look good because you don't do nothing for me. I do it for you. Because at the end of the day, you don't look good unless I go out there and perform my job.
Facts.
Facts.
Well, look, thanks for calling in. Thanks for calling in. And
I'm sorry?
I said, thanks for calling in.
Also, I like to tell you,
feel
free, because I'm retired,
Mm-hmm.
but I like what you're doing. And I would like, if you need any help or any kind of action or whatever, you could count on me. Because just because I'm retired, I haven't forgotten where I came from and what I'm all about.
I appreciate that.
And I respect what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because we needed a guy like you maybe 25 years ago, straighten this place out a long time ago.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. If you know how to reach me, my email is progressiveaction100 at gmail.com. You could just send me an email and send me your information, and I could keep you informed on what we're doing out here.
That's perfect. And listen, keep out the good work. Don't let these people play you, because I know you're a smart guy. You know what you're doing. Hammer them. That's all I'm going to tell you.
All right.
It's hammer time.
Thanks for calling in, man.
All right.
All right.
Have a happy.
You too. Have a happy holiday, Thanksgiving and Christmas. Thanks for calling in. But let's get back to these layoffs. Let's get back to let me play this clip one more time, because you guys, I break down these numbers. Let's play this clip one more time.
43 million, workforce reduction almost 2,400. New York City bus, $641 million of savings, almost a $4,600 workforce reduction. Long Island Railroad and Metro North combined, $265 million of savings for 33 workforce reductions. MTA bus savings of $190 million, almost 1,300 workforce reduction. I should point out that MTA bus, because the city pays the full deficit of MTA bus, this is not generating savings for the MTA, but the savings would accrue to the city of New York. And for bridges and tunnels, some savings there of $25 million, workforce reduction of 196. So in total, it's $1,274 million, and workforce reductions of 9,367. I should say, this is the full year impact. The reason we don't have that full year impact in 2021 is because we cannot implement it immediately. If this were to happen, because we are not receiving the federal aid that we desperately need and we believe deserve, the board would have to take action. Once taken action, there would have to be public hearings. Once there's public hearings, there would be a process that's followed through. So we believe that the earliest we might be able to implement these would be in May of this year, of next year. So a workforce by each agency, we've summarized it here.
Pay attention to those numbers, people. They want to lay off 2,369 workers in New York City subway. In subways, they want to lay off 2,369 people. In buses, they want to lay off 4,587 workers. Buses, 4,587 workers. They bread and butter, Long Island Railroad and Metro North, only 933 combined. Only 933. MTA bus, 1,282 workers. And bridge and tunnel, 196. Now let's only focus on the New York City Transit and the departments that our union covers. So that's subways, that's bus, and that's MTA bus. So we talking about, between the buses alone, we talking about 5,800 employees laid off in buses. 5,800 employees. In New York City Transit, 2,369 employees. This is our jobs, ladies and gentlemen. This is our jobs. The attack is real. In buses, they are attacking. What are you guys reps doing? You can't listen to them when they say, no, this is not going to happen. In 2010, it happened, and it wasn't nowhere near as bad as it is now. Nowhere near. The war is on, ladies and gentlemen. What is the union doing about that? Now, New York City Transit subway, it could include stations, it could include cleaners, definitely includes train operators and conductors. We are in trouble. So if you got less than probably less than 5 years on the job, you should be worried. You may not have a job. You should be worried. In buses, the cuts are even more deeper. I think that if you got less than possibly 10 years on the job, you should be worried. You should be worried. Do not listen to the union and say, oh, these attacks aren't real and this, that. The attacks is real now. The MTA laid out the numbers. The only thing that's not clear right now is exactly what titles are being affected. And to you supervisors out there, to you managers, you guys are not layoff proof, especially the managers. You guys are not layoff proof. I'm quite sure they're going to touch a few of you guys also. I'm quite sure. Everybody is on the plate. The attacks are being real. This is what they talk about at these board meetings. I don't understand how we aren't paying attention. I don't get it. Another thing that they plan on doing that happened at this board meeting. And look, I need you guys to call in 515-605-9842. I need to hear from you guys. I need you guys to call in and speak your piece. You got a platform where you can speak your piece. Speak your piece. That's why we here, to create this awareness. This is not the time for us to be silent. How can you be silent when your head could possibly be on the chopping block? And I didn't put this in the show, which I should have, to all you guys, because you know I mentioned the years. If you got less than 10 years here, if you possibly got less than 5 years here, you need to be worried. I know I got some retirees watching right now. And they be like, oh, I'm out of this joint in a year anyway, or 2 years anyway. Well, guess what they want to do? They want to get rid of your health insurance. So you're going to retire with no health insurance. That's what's happening. That happened at the MTA board too. I should have put it in the show. I didn't, but I'm telling you, they want to take away you guys' health insurance. So do not think that you're not being affected. Everybody will be affected. Every single person. Now let's look at what they're doing with the fares in New York City Transit. They want to get rid of the 7 and 30-day passes. And if they do that, the base fare would not increase. But a lot of people rely on these unlimited 7 and 30-day Metro cards. They rely on it. The MTA want to take that away. To the riding public, the MTA want to take that away. To the employees who have family members in their household that pay for Metro cards. That's going to affect you. That's going to put more of a dent in your pocket on top of the wage freeze that's happening next year. So you're going to be paying, your family going to be paying more to ride the system, and you're going to be making less, not keeping up with the cost of living and all that other stuff. That's something to think about. Now, another option they have is to hold the base fare at $275 and increase the price of 7 and 30-day passes. That affects our household. That affects the riding public. Everyone will be touched. They want to increase the green fee for new Metro card purchases above the current $1. Everyone will pay a price. This is insane. The public think that they don't get touched. You got workers here that's thinking that they not gonna get touched. This plan that they got, it touches everyone. Everyone will be touched. I need you guys to call in 515-605-9842. I want to hear what you guys got to say. Now, how fast do the MTA forget? And they think that we silly, you know, just because our union reps, forget the reps, our union leadership, we talking about the president, the international president, the top four, just because they aren't forward thinkers don't mean that we aren't forward thinkers, or we not logical thinkers, or we not critical thinkers, because we are. We are. So how soon could anyone forget? Anyone that the MTA board approved a $51 billion capital plan. Now I gotta import this other picture into the show. Give me 1 second. I gotta import this other picture in the show. But the MTA approved a $51 billion capital plan back in 2019. Now, for argument's sake, I mean, just to keep it 100. Just to keep it 100. This was way before the pandemic. This is way before the pandemic. But I want to point something out to you guys. Let me put that up on the screen. Now, this is how they were supposed to get that $51 million. New taxes are expected to provide $25 billion. That figure includes revenue from congestion pricing. Now, what happened to the money from the new taxes? Because this wasn't all from congestion pricing, which didn't go through. But where's the money for the new taxes that was a part of that $25 billion? The state was supposed to be pledging $3 billion. And New York City, they wanted New York City to do the same. So we're talking about $6 billion from the state and the city. The MTA was also banking on more than $10 billion from the federal government. Of course, they're not going to get that. And of course, they're not going to get the $3 billion from the city and the state because everybody's claiming they poor right now and all that other stuff, right? But I want you guys to pay attention to what's going on here. In order for them to not lay off all those 9,367 people, I think I said, in order for them not to lay off all of those people, they just got to close the budget of $1.2 billion just to keep off layoffs. $1.2 billion. Let me put it on the screen again.
New York City Subway, annual savings of $343 million, workforce reduction almost 2,400. New York City
Just
bus,
so y'all can see it.
641.
$1.2 billion. So you trying to tell me that the MTA cannot find $1.2 billion in this entire system of where they was getting money from? See, now the problem with this MTA board approving the $51 billion is that they never had the money in their hands. They was banking on getting the money from here, getting the money from there, hoping that everything goes right. And things of that nature, and everything went everything that could have went wrong. $51 billion capital plan. I want to know how much money they got from those new taxes. In order for them to stave off layoffs, they only need $1.2 billion. $1.2 billion to avoid layoffs. But let me remind you guys to something. Because this is what I got on the screen is talking about their capital plan. Let me put that again. So the capital plan, it includes new signals, new rails, new train cars, Omni, all of that stuff. Everything that you could think of, construction wise, new materials. You trying to tell me that the MTA can't find a $1.2 billion can't find $1.2 billion, but for some odd reason, none of their construction projects stopped. The MTA is strapped for money, but not one of their construction projects stopped. Google it in the news. Didn't some new accessible stations opened up recently during this pandemic? They never stopped doing the construction. Don't you hear in the news every single time? Maybe I could find it. I ain't gonna find it right now, but Google it. Don't you hear that Omni is all Omni in the Bronx this week? The next week is all Omni in Brooklyn. Omni is on the buses. Omni, they did all of this work with capital budget money during the pandemic when they was crying for money. They never stopped their construction. They never stopped their construction. The odd thing is that when it comes to saving jobs and not laying off, they can't find money, but they can continuously find the money to continue with their projects that's going to eventually take away jobs. Don't you guys find that strange? They want to cut service, but they could keep continuing these projects. What's the sense of making these signals, creating Omni, if you guys are going to cut the lines? If you guys are going to get rid of 5,000 buses, what's the sense of equipping all these buses with Omni if you're not going to have bus operators to operate these buses? Think about it. The MTA saying they need $1.2 billion. They still not taking money in the station booths. Still not taking money in the station booths. They still got the subway closure going on. I believe from 1 to 5 a.m., 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. If you need money, if you strap for money, wouldn't you open up the system back 24 hours? Because people who don't work here and don't understand is that, oh, the subway system is closed. How I'm supposed to get to work from this time to this time if the subway system is closed? This is the thing that they not saying. The subways is still running as normal. They just don't want passengers on there. And if you don't want passengers on there, then that means that you don't want money. You don't want fares. You're not allowing the station agents to collect, to have money in the booths and make cash transactions. You can't be that strapped for money. Because if you needed money, you will be getting it from every way possible. You would even think about new ways, new streams of revenue. You guys took away your old streams of revenue when you're at a time where y'all saying y'all strapped for cash and you need $1.2 billion to stave off layoffs. That doesn't make any sense. That makes absolutely no sense. Let's go to a caller. Caller 8494. You now live on the Progressive Action TV show. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, Jamal, Jason here from Brooklyn. How you doing?
What's going on, Jason? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I was watching the board meeting this morning. I could agree with you 100%. And let's go further. The MTA could talk about reduction in force, service cuts, fare and toll increases, but they never talk about their consulting firms.
Facts.
Because they could contract consulting firms left and right. They could have Anthony McCord, that's the so-called transformation officer that Pat Floyd brought in out of the blue, and this one right here spoke against his nomination because he was brought in from Canada. And I knew since day one, Jamal, that this person was a bad influence for the MTA.
I agree.
And I assume that Tony Otano is going to be so coward that is going to be pleased with the job reductions.
You may be right.
And
Yeah.
let me tell you something, Jamal. I feel sorry for my brothers and sisters in transit when these job reductions get into effect. But if we don't speak up, we won't get listened. And it's time to fight people like Pat Foy and Sarah Elizabeth Feinberg. They need to resign because their performance during the pandemic has demonstrated to us, to the writing public, and you as an employee of the MTA, that they failed.
I agree. And not only are they failing, but they being deceptive. They're lying. Like how they saying to stave off layoffs, they need $1.2 billion basically, right? Or they trying to save $1.2 billion with keeping off these layoffs, but they still doing Omni. They still making these stations accessible, building elevators everywhere. They still got the recent
accessible state. The recent accessible station that they did was 59th Street on the 4th Avenue line.
That must have cost them a whole bunch of money. That was not cheap to do that, right? So that must have cost a whole bunch of money. None of their capital.
Look across the Hudson, Toronto, New Jersey Transit. They're not cutting service at all. And even the governor of New Jersey approved increase on their gas tax that will benefit New Jersey Transit. I wonder why Andrew Mark Cuomo, who is the governor of the state of New York, doesn't consider a gas tax to benefit the MTA.
Well, let me ask you why you think he's not considering a gas tax.
Because he doesn't want to affect the 1% like my former big boss, Jeff Bezos.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Look, thanks for calling in, Jason.
And as a matter of fact, Jamel, next week I'll be traveling to Seattle because I'm going to make big noise in front of Amazon's world headquarters over there next week.
Excellent work, man. Look, thanks for calling in, Jason. I appreciate your work. I see you at the MTA board meetings every month. People don't know that you speak up for workers and you speak up for riders. So we really appreciate your work over here at Progressive Action. And I just want you to keep going and keep going strong and keep us updated as to what's going on your trip, okay?
Thank you, Terrell. I appreciate it. I'll be watching on YouTube.
Thank you. That was Jason Anthony, good guy, at every MTA board meeting, making his voice heard, and he's just a regular passenger. He's not an MTA worker, and this is what we need. Think about what I just said. The MTA cannot find $1.2 billion to keep off the layoffs. Let me play the clip again because I don't think you guys realize how real this is. Look at the layoffs. Look.
Savings, almost a $4,600 workforce reduction. Long Island Railroad and Metro North combined $265 million of savings for 33 workforce reductions. MTA bus savings of $190 million, almost 1,300 workforce reduction. I should point out that MTA bus, because the city pays the full deficit of MTA bus, this is not generating savings for the MTA, but the savings would accrue to the city of New York. And for bridges and tunnels, some savings there of $25 million, workforce reduction of 196. So in total, it's $1,274 million, and workforce reductions of 9,367.
You guys to be kidding me. You guys to be kidding me. They still rolling out Omni. They still installing these elevators in these stations. They still not taking money from they still don't got the station agents taking money. And they got the subways closed. These people are lying about their finances. The union bet not allow not one layoff of any member of New York City Transit. Not one member. I don't understand how they could get away with it. I don't understand why the union is not pressing them regarding this. This is serious, ladies and gentlemen. This is whenever there's some type of struggle or people are going through something, there's someone else in another corner of the world winning. When people suffer, someone else is winning. This virus, this pandemic has expedited what the MTA always wanted to do. They always wanted to reduce the workforce. They wanted to do that. They found the reason why. They wanted to take money out the station booths. They got the reason why. They wanted to roll out Omni faster. It was supposed to have been finished in 2023. It's going to be finished next year. They rolled that out quicker. The MTA is winning right now, and we are losing. There will be layoffs next year. Even if the MTA got $12 billion, I believe there will be layoffs. And the only people that we could blame if one person is laid off, because we're not going to play this game, because this is what happens. The MTA make these, we got to lay off 9,000 people. We got to make all these cuts. And it may be a reach. They probably could be lying just a little bit. And you know what the union is going to do. And I want you guys to remember this. When it happened, I want you guys to remember this. Go back to the show. Tell me, Tramel, this is where you said it at. If layoffs happen and the MTA is predicting 9,300, and let's just say 3,000 people get laid off. The union is going to say, we won. It was a fight back. They wanted to lay off 9,300 people. We fought them tooth and nail. We only got them to lay off 3,300. This is a win. No, it's not a win. No, it's not a win. One person laid off. We lost the battle in the war. Samuelson was telling Pat Foy, well, because there's a law that says that the MTA got to balance the budget at the end of the year, I guess, whatever it is, right? So Samuelson said to Pat Foy, you know, what are they going to do if you don't balance the budget? Just ignore it. What they going to do, lock you up? He's right. What are they going to do to you, Pat Foy? They not going to lock you up. But we know that this is the plan that you guys wanted all along. But the question to Samuelson is, why don't you just break the Taylor law? What's the worst thing that's going to happen? You're going to spend 10 days in jail. I know you're a tough guy, Samuelson. You could spend 10 days in jail. What's the worst thing that could happen? We break the Taylor law, and the international don't fund us the money. You're the international president. Whatever fines that we incur in Local 100, you could give it right back to us, because this union give you about $15 million a year. This union give the international about $15 million a year. Samuelson, you're the international president. If you decide to break the Taylor law, guess what? And they decide to fine us or whatever the case is, then guess what? You could pay that fine for us. So don't ask Pat Foy what's the worst thing that could happen to him. What's the worst thing that could happen if you ever decide to really stick up for your workforce? That's what needs to be asked. We not falling for that regular banana in the tailpipe. We're not doing that. This is a new educated Local 100. We are going to talk about things, and we're going to expose you guys for who you are. I really wish you guys really put up a fight. I wish I was really proud to wear Local 100. I don't even feel proud wearing Local 100 because you guys are sellouts. You guys kiss the governor butt too much. And you guys do not care about the membership. I really wish that we could put some real pride behind our union again. We the laughing stock of the city when it comes to this union game. Don't let them fool you. We the laughing stock. I have friends in sanitation. I have friends that work that's teachers. I have friends that's in DC 37. We are the laughing stock of the city. In fact, in the MTA, we are the laughing stock compared to Long Island Railroad and Metro North. We are the laughing stock. Take a caller. Caller
hello, Cromwell?
0559.
Hi, this is Charlton D'Souza from Passengers United.
Charlton, how you doing, my friend?
Good, good. I just want to say I am so proud of all the work that you have done. I really am so proud of the sacrifices that you've made, and you are a role model for the entire transit worker workforce. And I think you should be the union president. You should be the leader. I have a tremendous amount of respect for you and just for the team at Progressive Action and what you guys have been able to do. Just so honored to have been able to come to the event and just to see you guys in action. And I'm very sorry about what the MTA did to you and how they treated you. I think that's disgusting. And, I don't want to, I just feel like it's just horrible. And, all the workers have been so dedicated. They come to work every day with a smile on their face, ready to serve the public. And this is how they're getting treated now. And where are all these progressive elected officials that are coming out and saying that, they support progressive policies, but today when the fares are going up and almost 9,000 to 10,000 MT workers are being laid off, where are they? The city comptroller has been quiet. I've been tweeting out all day to elected officials, nothing. And, it's crazy.
It is. And I would like to congratulate you guys for, you guys been on these issues ever since I came across you guys. You guys are at every MTA board meeting. You guys support transit events, workers events. So I would like to tell you guys to keep up the good work also. But I mean, this is crazy, man. This is crazy. You're right. Where are these progressive?
And I owe you.
Yeah, got.
Well, first and foremost, I want to apologize to you and to all your listeners for something that happened about 2 years ago. And I think we spoke about it, but I'll openly apologize here and get it right out of the way. So I had sent a tweet. What happened was I missed the bus. And what happened was I was waiting online. The bus left early, whatever it is. And I sent a tweet out saying that the driver should be fired. I just want to apologize for that. That was not the right thing to say at the time, and I know some transit workers, when they heard this, they got very upset and very angry. I just want to apologize to them. Just so all of you know, my dad used to work for New York City Transit. He was a humble employee. He had 2 heart attacks on the job, and he was treated like a number. And when we went to the pension office to talk about the medical benefits that my mom was supposed to get, they treated us like shit and sent us to another office. So just so you guys know, I support transit workers 100%, but at the same time, I just want to point out that there are, there's probably like 2% of people who give transit a bad name. And I just want to put that out there. So I want to apologize to anyone who was offended. And Passengers United has come a long way. We've been doing a lot of advocacy. We've been working with you guys, with a lot of transit workers who I have a tremendous amount of respect for. They respect me. And, there's other groups out there who had an event, when was it? On, I think, Monday. And I didn't see any of these groups. They don't even come to the MTA board meetings.
Yeah, unfortunately. It was a transit
right,
rap?
and they claim they're progressive. They don't do anything.
Yeah, I got you, man. Well, thanks for calling in. It's always good to hear from you. And keep up the good work. Passengers United.
Thank you so much. And we're going to do everything we can to help the transit workers, fight to keep their jobs. We're going to fight to keep the station agents, the station cleaners. We're going to do everything we can. So I'm proud of all of you guys. Keep up the hard work. And definitely, anything you guys need, you know how to contact us on Twitter. We'll be there for you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too. That's another ally, non-transit worker at every MTA board meeting. I see them at the MTA board talking about workers, protecting workers. And it kills me to see the public defending workers, but not the actual workers going to these MTA board meetings, discussing these things. Now, like I said, we are in trouble. And now these attacks are happening on all types of levels now. All types of levels. Now, like I tell you guys, people think that, we cliquish, progressive action and things like that. Now, we not any of that. We are objective people. We rely on the facts. We rely on the truth. When the union do something good or they put out good information, we're going to use it. We're going to let you know where this good information came from. We're going to show you, what these people are doing. Now, a union rep did put out something good. I found that the information was useful. And that union rep is Division Chair Map Stower Donald Yates. He put out a video. Someone sent me the video. I'm like, this is good information. Everyone needs to hear it. See, and this is the thing too. These union reps, I'm like the boogeyman to Utano. Certain people cannot talk to me. They can't take pictures with me. They can't talk with me. They can't do anything because they know that Utano will lay the smack down on them and send them back to their tools, bring up charges on them, whatever the case may be. I done heard about that because they tell me. But I'm like the boogeyman to Utano and all these other people here, right? But this platform is for people who want to do the right thing. If a union rep say, yo, Tramel, I know you got a good following. I want to get some information out there to the listeners. can I call into your show? Can we do a show together and we can inform the members together as to what's going on? That's what should be done. That's what should be done. So let me play this clip of Donald Yates giving you guys some useful information. Check it out.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. I just got some news that I think everybody's going to want to hear. It's regarding FMLA. We've reached a point where FMLA has reached the MTA Inspector General's office, and they're doing investigations, and their investigation ability has a lot of reach. All right, and we're talking about other state reach. So if you're doing FMLA, and let's say you're doing it because you went and you've extended your RDOs or whatever, you have to be mindful that I'm actually working on a case where the proof that the MTA has is very outstanding, and I just want to give everybody an alert and a warning. When utilizing FMLA, just make sure that you're using FMLA for what you're supposed to use it for. If for whatever reason you are not, the only thing that I can tell you is don't swipe credit cards, don't swipe nothing that can track you back to wherever you have been. All right? That's all I can really speak on right now is this, but I think I find this very important. We always speak about it in the shop gates about FMLA and being careful how do you utilize it. Well, I have a case now, and basically they're tracking people based on how you utilize your credit cards, how you utilize any type of cards that deal with finances, and where those finances expenditures are occurring at. Be safe and be well. Let's have a discussion. I'm going to keep the thread open for discussion. Let's talk about it. I want everybody to be safe. We don't want nobody involved in any disciplinary matters because of this. All right? People have careers here. People have children. People who are paying college tuitions and mortgages. You will lose it all. You will lose it all. This is an alert.
That information was useful. That information was useful. So you heard what he said. You got to watch what you're doing on the FMLA. You got to watch your cards. You got to watch everything because the MTA Inspector General office, they have an outreach just like the federal government. They probably could tap phones. They probably got mines tapped. They, like he said, they got access to credit card records and all types of stuff. This is something that we should be taking serious. And this is the information that I want these reps to call me on. I don't care who it is. I don't care. I don't care who it is. If you got some information that you need to relay to the members and you want to speak about it, call me. Call me. It's about, like Yates said, it's about saving jobs. You save jobs, you save lives. People got mortgages to pay for. People got all this other stuff. But let's look at the reason why people may use FMLA erroneously. It's hard to get a day off. You have women on the job who sometimes the babysitter cancel. There's no light duty, like we spoke about in the show before this. There's no light duty work. There's nothing here to really support you to grow your family. There's nothing. Things happen. You can't get the day off to go to a funeral. I spoke about that on the last show. You know, things come up, and sometimes you got to find a way to manipulate the system. Now, during the pandemic, layoffs, now you got to worry about the inspector general doing an investigation because an employee took a day off that they probably couldn't get or probably was going to be denied from? When is the Inspector General going to do an investigation on how the MTA dropped the ball during this coronavirus? When is the MTA IG is going to do an investigation on how they break the law for workers' comp? When is the Inspector General going to do something, look into why we get disciplined the way we get disciplined, and make sure that race or nothing else is involved, or fraud or nepotism or anything like that? When is the MTA IG is going to do an investigation that affects management and not the workers? That's the question that needs to be asked. Now, I seen Carbon 15 in the chat. He made a good point. There's 60 people in this chat right now. He's saying that I can't see how many likes. He's saying that there's only 12 likes. I need you guys to hit that like button. Hit the like button. There should be at least 60 likes in this chat. I need you guys to hit the like button. I need you guys to share out these lives. Share out the lives. I need you guys to hit that super chat. We need donations. I need you guys, you see the Cash App on the screen, the Progressive Action 100. Hit the Cash App, drop a donation. I'm waiting for somebody to drop like 500 to 1,000 and surprise me one day. I'll take 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 now, but I'm waiting for somebody to surprise me with 500 to 1,000 anonymously or something. But hit the PayPal. The PayPal is Progressive Action. Like I said, to the people who really support Progressive Action, in the link of this YouTube video, you will see something called Patreon. Go on to Patreon and hit that up. Now, shout out to Carbon 15. He just dropped $4.99 in the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I need you guys to also spread the word. The Progressive Action TV show will only be seen now on YouTube. Our regular lives will still be on Facebook. But if you want to get this important information, this valuable information, the only place you're going to be able to find it is right here where you're watching right now. So I don't know if all you guys are subscribed, but I need you guys to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. I need you guys to do all of that. This information is super important. Share out these lives. Man, I mean, listen, if this live do not wake you guys up to show you what the MTA is trying to do to us, we talking about layoffs, we talking about wage freezes, we talking about fare hikes. Now we got to worry about the IG worrying about why people is taking FMLA days. The MTA is doing all of this. The MTA IG office, they get MTA money. Why aren't they staff being cut down to size? We work for an agency that find money when they need to find money and use the money for what they want to use the money for. Everything that the MTA is using the money for is to hurt the rank and file. Everything that the MTA is finding money for is to hurt the rank and file. It is insane. I don't understand why. I mean, you guys do not understand how bad I wish that we had real leadership here. How we had a union that really want to fight back. That we had a union who don't care who the governor is. That we had a union that don't sell out workers to management. We had a union that cared how many workers really passed away due to this pandemic. I wish we had a union that cared about the health and safety of the workers. Ladies and gentlemen, we have none of the above. None of the above. We have to change that. I'm not saying that every union rep, but I'm going to say this about you guys. You guys don't hold Utano accountable. A lot of you guys hit me up and tell me that I'm speaking the truth. You tell me. I don't blow you guys up. But you guys got to start being men and women. Utano can't do anything without you guys. And he thought he was slick. He put up this new promotional piece in the Chief, and every time someone calls him a racist, he got to surround himself around people of color. Man, we gotta wake up, people. It's wartime. We're in the middle of a war. This may actually be the fight for our lives. The MTA want to lay off 1/4 of us. Because I guarantee you most of the layoffs is going to come. Well, let me see. 7,000. How many? Let me do the math real quick. Because I want to put this in perspective to you guys. Because there's about 44,000 members in Local 100. And the MTA want to lay off about 7,500. About 7,500 workers. Or should I say 75? No. Matter of fact, more than that. The MTA want to lay off about 8,000 MTA workers. So we talking about a little bit over 1/4 of our workforce. That's a huge number. That's a huge number. We cannot allow it. We can't allow our union leadership to not be held accountable. We can't do business as normal anymore. Just like how we have a new normal, wearing masks and washing hands all the time and hand sanitizer and social distancing. That's our new normal. We need a new normal for unionism here. We need a new normal for how we do business here as members and holding our reps accountable, going to MTA board meetings, going to union meetings, supporting other departments who may be under attack first. Because you know how the saying go. It could be me today and it could be you tomorrow. We need a new normal in Local 100 as a membership. We can't go along business as usual anymore. This business is not usual. It's very unusual right now. It's very unusual right now. We got to step up and we got to take back what's rightfully ours, starting with the respect here. If anyone want to get involved with the work that Progressive Action do, you guys know how to find me. You can find me on Facebook under my name. I ain't put my name on the screen all show. But you can find me up under my name. My name is right here. You can email me, progressiveaction100@gmail.com. I'm here. I want people to get involved. And shout out to the Save Our Stations rally. You guys did an excellent job today. An excellent job. You guys spoke well. It was organized well and all of that. You guys did an excellent job. Salute to you guys. But we need more support here from other departments. We got to get involved. We got to protect each other. There's no sense for us to call each other brother and sister when we treating each other like friend and foe. Don't call me a brother if you go treat me like a foe, if you're not going to support me. Because that's what it looked like here. We look like friends and foes here, not brother and sister. That term is used too loosely. I don't feel like I'm anyone brother here the way that we carry on and don't support each other. It's like we foes. We got to stop this. This cannot be our new normal. We got to change our new normal, people. We got to change our new normal. Once again, if you want to donate to the platform to donate, Cash App. Well, the PayPal is up right now. The PayPal is Progressive Action. The Cash App is Progressive Action 100. Spread this video out, share this video. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Take the link of this video, put it on your personal YouTube page. On your personal Facebook page, Twitter page. I want to see this everywhere. Let's share this out. Let's create allies with the public. Let's stop treating each other as friend to foe and really be brother and sister here. If that's what we want to really be. And let's provide a real fight back. This is the new Local 100. Thanks for tuning in.